Welcome to day 2 of our Bible in the Year series. Yesterday we saw how God created the world, humanity's downfall, and God's redemption plan for our downfall. Today we'll look at the consequences of sin in Genesis 4 through 6, and then we'll see Jesus' birth and the dangers surrounding young Jesus Christ in Matthew chapter 2. Today's readings is going to remind us that even when things seem out of control, God always has a plan. Whether it's Noah preparing for the end of the world, the flood, or it's the Magi traveling to worship Jesus, God is always working to fulfill his purpose. But as you know, before we ever do anything in this channel, we always pray. So if you guys don't mind bowing your head down and closing your eyes and say a little prayer. Lord, as we open up your word today, please give us discernment. Please fill us with the wisdom and let us know what it is that you want us to learn. Please help us be able to carry these things that we learn today throughout our daily lives. All these things in your son Jesus Christ's name we pray. We're going to start off with Cain and Abel, two brothers who couldn't be more different. Cain was a farmer who brings an offering of crops to God, while Abel, the shepherd, brings the best of his flock to God for an offering. God accepts Abel's offerings, but rejects Cain's, bringing about jealousy and ultimately tragedy. But it'll be better for y'all to hear it from the horse's mouth himself, from the book itself. How about we dig into the book? Genesis chapter 4. And the word of God reads, And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his son, his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto Cain, Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived, and bare Enoch. And he builded a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad. And Arad begat Mahujael, and Mahujael begat Mathusael, and Mathusael begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives, 2. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handling the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wives Ada and Zillah, Hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, truly Lamech 70 and 7-fold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For God said, She hath appointed me and another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began man to call upon the name of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So, one of my favorite verses out of that whole reading, I would say, would be verse 7. So let's read it again real quick. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. This verse paints sin like a predator crouching at your door, waiting to pounce on you, to knock you out. Now you can let sin devour you, or you can rule over sin. Cain obviously let sin devour him. He could only rule over the sin, right? And how often do we let our sin devour us, whether it's jealousy like Cain's or something else? How often do we let it devour us? How often do we conquer those sins? And knowing that, how can we use Cain's weakness to lean on God's word, to know that God is everlasting? Leave your comments down below. To me, what's funny is this is the first time we got kind of this chapter is basically like I said, Genesis is the first for many things. Here we saw the first murder. You know, we saw the first murder, the first killing. We saw that. And Cain's response when God asked him is, am I my brother's keeper? In modern English, that's like, it's not my business. Abel is not, that's not my problem. Why are you asking me? Am I my brother's responsibility? That's real funny. But the answer to that, we all know we are each other's keepers. We are supposed to love each other as we love ourselves, right? Well, anyway, let's go into Genesis 6. Let's see what's happening. Genesis 5, I'm sorry. Let's see what's happening there. Genesis 5. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, and after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived and 5 years, and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years, and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years, and begat Mahalaleel. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalaleel 840 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalaleel lived 65 years, and begat Jared. And Mahalaleel lived after he begat Jared 830 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalaleel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God, and after he begat Methuselah 300 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God. And he was not, for God took him. He ain't died now, God took him. Methuselah lived 187 years, and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years, and begat a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Thanks be to God. So Genesis 5 is basically a genealogy tracing Adam's descendants, a family tree that leads us to Noah. Most of the names might sound like a blur together, but one name stands out, and that's the name of Enoch. As you heard me reading and emphasizing, everybody that was mentioned basically died except for one person, Enoch. And that was in verse 24. Let's read that one more time for you all. Genesis 5:24. The word of the Lord reads, And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Now, this is not just poetic language. Enoch was so close to God that he skipped death completely. What would it look like for us to walk with God so closely that we completely skip death altogether? What in your life is a testimony to God's greatness? Leave that in the comments below. And meanwhile, let's check out Genesis 6 and see all the wickedness that was going on. Genesis chapter 6. The word of God reads, And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto men, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, And they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of men was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil continually. And they repented the Lord that he had made men on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I would destroy men who I have created from the face of the earth, both men and beasts, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. For it repented me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third story shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven. And everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee I will establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy son's wife with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee all of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Genesis 6 is basically talking about the wickedness of man, like how man became wicked. Basically, sons of God, who I assume are fallen angels, came unto daughters of men who are, regular humans. And those daughters had kids. Those kids became giants. Those giants started doing crazy things like eating humans, spilling blood. There was just violence everywhere. And God just got sick of it. God regretted creating us. That's pretty sad, like for real. A verse we can read from that is, let's check out Genesis 6:5 real quick. And the word reads, And God saw that the wickedness of men was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So basically, our hearts are evil. And it's not just one time evil. Our hearts are continually evil. Our hearts always naturally are evil, unless we bring God into it. That's how I look at it. And also, imagine a world that was so corrupt that God decided he wanted to end it. And he was just done with it. That is truly a sad moment. But in that time, God did find one good person, and that will go to in Genesis 6:8, where it says, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." That is profound. Thank you for that. I imagine Noah as a guy who everyone is calling crazy. Like, they're looking at him like, "Hey Noah, what you doing?" And he says, "Man, I'm building an ark." You know? And they look at him, they're like, "Noah, we're in the middle of nowhere. Why are you building an ark?" And he says, "God tells me." Can you imagine how crazy they looked at him? How would you feel if somebody looked at you like that when God spoke to you and you was just like, you delivered the message and everybody is like, "Oh man, he's cuckoo." It reminds me of, I don't know if you all have seen that movie. If you've seen it, give me a thumbs up, give me a like on this video. Heaven Almighty. That's exactly how I pictured this situation happening to me anyway, like everybody looking at Noah like, "Oh man, that's the cuckoo guy." But we see that even when the world is at its worst, God still found a way. God still provided us a way to have faith, and still gave us his faithfulness. Noah's story is a reminder that obedience, even when it doesn't make sense, can take us a long way, can lead us to salvation. Now we're going to go into Mathew, one of my other favorite books, and we're going to go into chapter 2 with the birth of Jesus. Mathew chapter 2. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in those days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him." When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, "In Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel." Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, "Go and search diligently for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also." When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they came, and when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for the children, and would not be comforted, because they are not. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the young child's life. And he arose and took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. Notwithstanding, being warned of God in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee. And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, He shall be called a Nazarene. Thanks be to God. Switching to Mathew 2, we meet the Magi, the wise men from the east who followed the star to Jesus' birthplace. When they finally reached Jesus, they bowed down and presented him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, representing Jesus' kingship, his divinity, and the suffering he would endure. Matthew 2:11 is a key verse that we should look at. Let's turn there real quick. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. The Magi's journey reminds us that seeking Jesus is worth the effort. They traveled far and endured many challenges just to worship him. How far are you willing to go to draw closer to him in your life? Also, we see a difference between the Magi and King Herod. King Herod felt threatened by Jesus. In fact, he was furious at the thought of a rival king. So furious that he orders the massacre of all boys 2 and under in Bethlehem. But Joseph was warned in a dream by an angel, and he flees with Mary and Jesus to Egypt, fulfilling another prophecy. The prophecy in verse 15 of this chapter, and the word reads, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. Here we see that Joseph's obedience saved Jesus' life. This reminds us that following God sometimes means taking risks or going in unexpected directions. Are there areas in your life where God is asking you to step out in faith? Here are my 3 takeaways from this study today. 1. Cain and Abel's story warns us about the dangers of jealousy and unchecked sin. 2. Enoch and Noah remind us that walking with God and obeying Him can lead to extraordinary outcomes. 3. The Magi, the wise men, show us the joy of seeking Jesus, while Jesus teaches us the importance of trusting God's guidance, even in the face of danger. What step of faith is God asking you to take today? Today's reading shows us that even when sin seems to take over, God's grace and purpose shines through. Whether it's Noah building the ark or the Magi traveling to worship Jesus, we see that God always makes a way for His plans to unfold. Check us out next time for day 3 of the Bible in a year. Again, we're a few days behind. We started on the 6th instead of the 1st. So for us, this is day 2. Day 3 will be tomorrow. I hope you join us. Go ahead and like this video, leave a comment, share with your friends, family, or even your enemies. You know, we're supposed to love everybody. Love the enemy, right? Go ahead and share this video. Go ahead and subscribe. Until next time, one love.
Cut.